Today's discussion may send chills down many a business owner's spine. It involves being yourself in front of a live video audience, otherwise known as live streaming. It's a not for the faint-hearted episode 557 of the 12-year-old award-winning Small Business Big Marketing podcast.
Well, I said, welcome to a small business marketing show where successful small business owners share their souls to take your marketing straight to the lead. Now, here's your host, Mr. Timbo Reid.
And welcome back to your weekly dose of putting yourself out there marketing. I'm your host, Timbo Reid, and I have an insatiable curiosity for uncovering marketing strategies and ideas that help businesses just like yours grow. You, so much more importantly, well, you're a motivated business owner and you are so ready to crank out some great marketing to build that beautiful business of yours into the empire it absolutely, totally deserves to be. And that is exactly why this podcast exists, just for you. As per usual, team, there is marketing GOLD dripping from the ceiling over here at Small Business Big Marketing's HQ. So let's get stuck right in. Today, you and I get schooled in the art of live video streaming by Italian chef Ruby Salato, or as she likes to be called, Ruby Noosa. And for those of you wondering, what's this Noosa business? Well, it's a beautiful seaside village in Queensland, Australia. It happens to be where I live as well. And Ruby she's sort of trading off what is a wonderful brand name in itself, a bit of a Providence marketing, some would say. Now, Ruby started her live cooking show as a creative outlet at a time in her life when she was navigating her way through some pretty deep personal issues. As she says herself, she chose joy in building a community instead of wallowing in her own self-pity. Good on her for making that. What would have been probably a tough decision. Talking live with her followers over apps like Periscope and Facebook Live, Ruby shares recipes, stories and ideas from her home kitchen, no fancy studio, along with the odd happy dance, which she's very good at, all of which make her feel very happy. What a great way to build a business, hey? And as a result, she's created a community of tens of thousands of raving fans who pay to watch her and buy her merchandise. This is exactly an example of how to build a personal brand and start a fun business all from the comfort of your home. Who doesn't want a bit of that? Ruby's also an advocate for domestic violence and online bullying. If you are experiencing either of those things, please ring your nearest support line in Australia. That would be Lifeline. Don't let it go on any longer. Now, I did this interview about 9 months ago, so a few things have changed since then. Ruby's left Periscope, where she had around 69,000 subscribers, and moved to the new live streaming platform in Haps TV. I'll put a link in the show notes to that, where she already has over 90,000 fans. Her Insta following is up to 18,000 and she's smashing TikTok, which we didn't get a lot of time to talk about. She's got 52,000 loyal viewers over there. It's a great story. It's not the biggest live streaming business in the world. Ruby's not making a gazillion dollars, but I tell you what, she's having a fair crack at it and she's doing a lot of things right. There's lots to be learnt here. I started off by asking Ruby, what's cooking?
Well, we are planning from some seafood pasta today, actually. So I'm very excited.
Nice. So you've got a live streaming class coming up imminently after this interview, have you?
Absolutely, yes. I do that almost every day.
Love it. Okay. Is it like an hour away, 2 hours away?
Yeah, it's just after this interview. The time to reset up everything and
How do you feel knowing you're about to go on camera?
To me, now, after been doing this for almost 5 years, I feel like it's just like any other thing. I don't even prep myself like I used to. I don't even bother to put so much makeup like I used to or anything like that. It's
that's interesting.
Just another day.
Well, I want to go through the pre-production, production and post-production process. So that's quite interesting that you don't do that kind of prep like you used to. Nor do I. No, that's not true. I think I do. I think I actually do more prep these days. I actually think I'm prepping more. So that's kind of interesting. Let's go back in time, Ruby Noosa. How did you get into online streaming?
Okay, so it was quite accidentally. So basically, I owned a restaurant for 4 years, and I separated, and
From your husband?
From my house, yeah, from my husband, yeah. And I basically moved into a new apartment on my own with 2 kids. All of a sudden, I was a single mom with no income from a big restaurant that was producing kind of good money to zero. And I was literally wanting to have a little of escape, a mental escape. You know, when you you want to watch your Netflix favorite TV show just because you want a mental break. And I discovered an app watching the Ellen DeGeneres show, actually. Thanks, Ellen. She was promoting this app because it was a brand new app that Twitter recently bought in 2015. So I downloaded this app called Periscope, which was a live streaming app. And the idea behind the app was to connect people through live streaming. So connecting people, talking to random strangers around the world. And I had this very important feature that other apps didn't have, which was the world map. So you could see on a screen on the app a world map. You could see where people were live currently. So I was very fascinated to go to South America because I love salsa dancing. And I started to click on people in Puerto Rico and then America, New York. And then I went to Rome. So you could click people that were live right then. And then after watching a couple of them, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. There is no one that does in Australia. The Australian map was blank. You know, it was like 0. Yeah. And so I started to do it. And when I started, obviously I had like 2 viewers, but it was so good because it was just random people.
What did you actually start to do?
I just literally looked at my camera and say, hello. Right. Am I talking to anybody out there? Yeah. It was very weird. But I just needed to have some sort of interaction. I had very little friends around me. My family is all back in Italy, where I'm from originally. So I was really isolated in this new life after I started my new life, I call it that way. So I really needed some sort of social interaction. And that's the whole purpose why I started originally. The second day, it was still nervous. I still put makeup on just in case. And I would start to continue to, I would start to talk to other people. And the people that they were tuning in the day before, started to follow me. And so they would receive a notification when I was live. And so we kind of started that connection. And so on, I grew and my audience. And for the first year, I was all pure talking to strangers.
For a whole year, you were just getting on, and it was a social outlet, this live streaming through Periscope. It was a social outlet. Yeah, correct. Just like any other, like Instagram and Facebook. Just instead of writing or posting picture, it was a live video. Wow. Which was nice because it was basically like having a conversation with you right now, except it was just my face, but people were typing the conversation. Oh, so they're not you're not seeing the other people at this point in time. They are chatting to you, and you're essentially answering
the only person on the camera.
You're the only person on the camera. Ruby,
correct.
Ruby, let's get rid of the elephant in the room. You're an attractive woman, and I imagine you would have got hassled. Maybe bullied, maybe stalked. I don't know. Tell me about that side of live streaming in the early days.
Yes, early days still continues today, so it didn't end, and I don't think it will ever end. Being a woman, of course, you are more exposed to a higher number, which can work in your favor if you work into a business point of view. But it's not always easy.
Do you mean a high number, a higher audience
higher number? Higher reach, automatically. But it's not always a good thing. So I was exposed to sexism a lot, constantly. Just people randomly showing up on my broadcast to say, "Oh, I want to see your boobs." Just comments that in a normal life you would never go to a random woman and say, So you're ugly, you're fat, you have a pimple in your face.
So, okay, because at this time, Ruby, you've gone through a marriage separation, you've lost a business in the restaurant. You've had to, life's changed, and I'm gathering it's a fairly dark period of your life. you put
Very
yourself
much.
in this situation. The upside is you are getting to connect with other people around the world and have dialogue and conversation, be social, tick. But you're also putting yourself in a position of,
vulnerability. Yeah, of course.
being bullied. And so how did you manage that? Obviously you did, and you're through the other side.
I think I actually chose to look more the positive way. The positive engagement was higher than the negative.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely I had more positive rewards from the app rather than bullies. So at the same time, I had very bad comments, but at the same time I had higher nice comment. We love talking to you, Ruby. We love how engaging you are. We love your funny accent and all this strange conversation. I love to joke about. I love to have a laugh.
Yes.
And so because that was more positive than the negative, like there was more engagement on that kind of thing, on that positive level, I kind of started to look at the bullies or the trolls, what we like to call in the social media world, in a more funny way. So when a guy would randomly says to me, Ruby, open breast, I would randomly go to my fridge and get a chicken breast and would start to slice it. Exactly.
I love it.
So, and then I basically became stronger and stronger. So because I know that those people are probably from the basement of their moms or whoever where these people come from, you started to look at that reality on a different world, on a different level. I just started to joke about it. And the more I did that, the stronger I got into how to respond to bullies and bad comments and negative. And a lot of the time, I just block them.
So tell me, you spend a year being social on Periscope. You build up a following of, can you remember what that number was 5 years ago?
It was less than 1,000.
Okay, so it's a small number. So there must have been a point in time, which I'd love you to share with us, that you said, I think I can do more than just talk. And maybe was that the point where you decided to start cooking, or when did you start turning it into a business?
So it just grew organically. So the more I was getting confident on the camera, the more I started to get confident in walking around my house. And so this long conversation would mostly last 1-2 hours, even 3 hours when I didn't have the kids with me. So in that time, it happened that I had to, guys, I'm hungry. I'm just going to have lunch. And so you guys have lunch with me. And so that in that moment, that's when when people started to ask me, oh, how do you do this pasta? And being Italian, owning a restaurant, I kind of know what I'm doing in my Italian cuisine. And I started to see some more engagement into that cooking aspect on sharing my recipe and my Italian secret from my families and heritage. So at that point in time, I realized that there could be a sort of a different type of outlet for me for live streaming. And also I started to teach myself as well about social media. So I started to learn about the new apps out there. I started to get in contact with the big people behind those apps. So I had a conversation with in San Francisco, in the Valley, where all the big genius of IT. It's just amazing how many people I got to know into that year. For me, they were like huge people.
Just let me understand that. Give me an example of someone you contacted in Silicon Valley to talk about what? I love it.
I know. So in the meantime, while Periscope was being very popular, another app, Busker, contacted me because they were doing a similar thing. So just replicate, except for less audience or more clean audience or less trolls, less bullies, which worked out for a while. But unfortunately, then after a few years, because they didn't have enough audience, obviously it closed down. But for in that particular moment, I actually contacted them, and those people were, I don't know, the people in the Silicon Valley in the back end contacted me. Ruby, we want to do this. What do you think? They were asking me
how fantastic.
Opinion. Oh, it was like, am I talking to someone in San Francisco? Like, what is happening? It was very weird.
Those guys are like, hey, boys, we've got some lady. She calls herself Ruby Noosa. She's from Outback, Australia.
The weirdest.
Love it.
Absolutely.
So you started to get really, you're obviously inquisitive. You like to educate yourself on what's available to you. You then, you started cooking. Your audience built, because I guess you go from just having conversation to actually cooking. You actually got a specific offer, and people are liking your cooking. They're liking the way you're cooking. Celebrity chefs of MasterChef and all those shows have, turned cooking into, something Hollywood like. Did you? Was there a point then when you started to charge?
Once again, it kind of moved organically in that sense. The app started to charge the audience to reward the content creator. So I like to refer to myself as a content creator.
Yes.
So the app system worked that you would gift digital gift to the content creators, which they call it super hearts. So sometimes you see those little hearts floating on the screen, like on Instagram Live.
Yes.
Basically, Instagram Live actually copied the Periscope system back then, and there are certain hearts that you actually pay. So there are digital
currency
icons, yes, that you buy and then you give them back to your favorite content creator. So those little digital gifts, they're floating in the screen in the shape of a box, of a heart, of a balloon, or a dog. They become money at the end of the month. So the app on its own transforms those digital arts based on its own translation in money into American dollars, which worked out in my favor because American dollars obviously are higher than Australian. So that's how I started to monetize, and that's how I decided to transform my Ruby Noosa fun blog into a real business. So at that moment, when the app gave me the opportunity to earn money, I said I need to have a switch in my life. I was waitressing part-time with 2 kids, very small, a single mother in this little town. So I had to make a change. And that's what I say. I'm going to quit my waitressing job and I'm going to try and see how it goes.
It's an interesting point, which I've spoken to many business owners about. Did you quit your waitressing job once you'd replaced your waitressing income with Super Hearts, boxes and dogs? Okay, so you hadn't quite got there. Okay, so that's kind of interesting. Did you then find that when you put aside waitressing and any other form of earning income aside and 100% jumped off the live streaming cliff, is that when things really started to happen for you?
Yes, because I treated it like a business. So almost 7 days a week, my mind was there. How can I make this into a business? So let's make merchandise. Let's do the website. Let's start to create a format. Let's look for the right music in the background, because I put lots of music during my shows. Let's start to find a different way to create a subscription membership, which is what I then created during that. And so that actually forced me to create a business. And my audience loved it as well, because they were part of the journey. And I was at the whole point of live streaming is to be real and to be authentic. I want to hope so for a lot of other people. And so the more I was growing, the more I was telling them. So I even shared my income with them. What I did this month on Periscope, guys, is this. And if you guys keep giving, if you keep subscribing, then you're gonna see you're gonna see my shows every day. So people kept giving, because I was focusing on an American audience, and the American audience is a bit more educated in that tipping, system, like the service, like I want to pay for your service.
Yeah, of course.
And so yeah. So that's how it kind of grew in that sense. I also learned to ask things that I never actually did, because I grew up in a very conservative way with my Italian family. You work hard, and then you get the money. Instead, I had to work smarter this time. And it's a new concept. And I had to realize that what I was doing, it was actually providing an entertaining service. It wasn't an actual product, an actual item that you would sell. And I had to give myself the respect of, okay, I am actually giving 2 hours a day to someone of entertainment, of they will watch a TV series on Netflix otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to put a value on what I was giving on live streaming.
Absolutely.
Which was the most difficult one, I think.
No doubt. Most of us find that. So how did you go about doing that? How did you price it, and how did you create the subscription model?
So the subscription model I created at first was through PayPal, because PayPal has a feature where you can give monthly payment. But then there is another app that it was growing called Patreon. Which is also used in Australia.
Yes.
So patreon.com. It's a lot for content creators, and the app is very simple. It's just really you put a price for every single tier, and every tier has some sort of rewards.
Mm-hmm.
I have $5, it's the minimum, and then I have $100 a month. So those are monthly payments that you choose to give as in support of your content creators. So it's very well used for YouTubers.
And they're your two tiers, are they? $5 and $100?
From $5. Then I have $5,
Okay.
$15, $25, $50.
Okay. And don't go through all the tiers, Ruby, but I'm interested just to get a sense of, what do I get for $5 a month supporting Ruby Noosa, and what do I get for $100 a month, for example?
So for $5 a month, you get my shout out on my live streaming. Like, thank you, Tim, for supporting your channel. You're awesome.
Oh,
Thank
Ruby,
you. Keep supporting.
she mentioned me.
I just mentioned you. And you also get a postcard from Australia after the third month that you're supporting. So postage is expensive. And from Australia anyway, because mostly are the Americans. So
And $100?
For $100, you basically become sort of like a shareholder of Ruby Noosa. But I only have one person on that. So the mostly smaller ones.
Mm-hmm.
But
is there a sweet spot for membership?
$5.15.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Mostly $5. So my goal is to actually have a lot more. Like, I would love to have $10,005 than 200. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
I
I want to work with those kind of things. So
I've been looking
definitely.
at Patreon for many years. In fact, I've intended to get the creator of Patreon on this show because I do think it's a great platform, and I've sort of watched it grow over the last few years and thinking, it is a great way for us content creators to be rewarded, because the reality is, and I know this too because I get emails from people saying, how can we support your show, and, what can we do for you, Timbo, which I really appreciate. I never know what to say. I'm like, oh, I'm okay. I've got a sponsor. But, it is a lovely way for people to kind of support what you're doing. And as content creators, sometimes you feel like you're sort of yelling down an empty tunnel, and to know that there are people out there wanting to support. So worth having a look at. Anyone who's thinking of creating content, it's patreon.com. So, Ruby, there became a point where you then moved across. Are you on 4 live streaming platforms now?
So, yes. Periscope, obviously, the world of social media obviously changes every few months. So, obviously, the more Instagram was introducing Instagram Live, the more I had to expand my views. And as I said, I'm a self-taught person, so I love to educate myself on social media. I am constantly. So I am on Instagram, of course, and I started to do a few lives a month on Instagram, and then Twitter Live, of course, Periscope, now TikTok. I started to do TikTok live streaming.
What about Facebook
Live? Facebook Live, I only done one or two, I think. I don't really like Facebook, to be honest.
Why?
It just is not enough engagement to me. The whole point to me of live streaming is engagement, and Facebook is more for edited content, I believe. So what if I have some edited content, I will post it on Facebook, and of course that helps.
What kind of content?
Edited. So
edited
if I have
content. Okay.
actual cooking show that are being cut and repolished and clean.
So do you create different content for the different platform? Like if I were to see you on Instagram Live, would it be different to what you're doing on Periscope, for example?
Yes. I do specifically for each platform, because each platform has its own audience as well. For example, I'll give an example. Instagram is very much local. So Sunshine Coast, Australian, Noosa, Brisbane. So I would give and even the way I speak, it's a bit different. If I do it on Periscope, I know that the majority, 90% is American. And so instead of fillet, I would have to say fillet to be able to understood. And that's things that I've learned over the years, because who knew that it was, I still say tomato instead of tomato. Yeah. But there's things that, of course, the way you talk, the way you cook as well, the things that you cook
that's interesting.
Can be a little bit different.
Do you have a preference for any of the 4 platforms that you're on?
I still love Periscope because that's my sweetheart. That's my sweetheart.
Tell us your numbers, Ruby. Where are you at in terms of, I don't know, followers, likes?
So on Periscope, I have over 60,000 people. Instagram is growing, 12,000 and something. TikTok, I'm very excited to grow on TikTok.
What do you do on TikTok? I haven't had a TikTok conversation yet. How's that different?
TikTok is genius because it works with very quick engagement. So 15-second videos, even shorter sometimes. But what they do, they put music in the background that you can do voiceover or movie clips or songs. And so you can create your own content based on that particular voiceover or music lyrics so it becomes fun. It's all about fun. That's what I like about TikTok.
Well, but speaking of fun,
that's a different topic.
That's what is TikTok?
Yeah, it's like it's all new. So I'm all discovering. I'm all learning on TikTok. Yeah.
Speaking of fun, let's just talk about pre-production, production process. So pre-production, at the top of the interview, you said you don't really do much anymore. You sort of hit. I gather you're doing all this on your iPhone or your smartphone, correct?
Yes. So this is my camera. This is my phone.
Isn't that amazing? Just what we can do these days on that. Do you have?
I have over the 5 years. I have upgraded.
Yeah,
three times.
No doubt.
Because obviously the better the camera, the better the quality. And I usually use my microphone. I used to have even the phone.
Just explain that, because this is audio. So you've got a little Bluetooth wireless mic clipped to your top.
Yes.
That's talking
I have
directly
a wireless
to your phone.
mic. It's called Rode. Rode is a very good brand, but very cheap as well. It's not that expensive. Mm-hmm. I used to have the cable one that would just plug from your phone with the aux cable. Mm-hmm. And you can just start from that. You don't need to get the wireless to start off with. The wireless is just easier for me now that I'm cooking, because I can just move freely in the kitchen for sure. And then I have a light ring.
The beauty ring. There it is.
The beauty ring that is very, very popular.
I need about 10 of those, Ruby.
No, it's actually amazing how much it helps with the quality of the video. Yes. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, very true. I might put a list of all this equipment in the show notes, because then people can, if they do decide to do this, they can, what's that? Your battery pack?
And then you need a battery pack. It's very important is to put your phone on a night mode when you live stream, and a battery pack, because you don't want that interruption of low battery warning that would actually interrupt your live
Do you put your phone on a tripod?
I put the phone on the tripod, yes.
So you got a tripod, a phone, a battery pack, a Bluetooth Rode wireless microphone, and you are ready to go. You have got a business in a box, and you are off cooking. So not a lot of pre-production. You get on the camera, you do your thing. Is there any post-production, or do you just hit stop and it uploads to each of those social platforms?
So the production of the video itself, no, there's not that, because it's live. So it will be available until if you decide to delete it, but it will be available there. The post work, I would call it, what I do is to actually respond and to engage with the comments, messages that you will get after. So people think I only work 1-2 hours a day doing my live, but in reality is the behind the scenes, so the community engagement that you have to keep
Tell us about that, because it is huge. I feel the same here. Putting together an episode takes a few hours, but the potential community engagement can be a lot longer. What's your community engagement look like?
So some part of my subscribers know in advance when I do my cooking show. So it's part of my job to actually telling them when I'm going to do my cooking show. And that's also part of the reward, to create that private chat to those privileged people that join my subscription. So I have to inform them, and then the post-production will involve me to get some clips maybe from the cooking show and then post it on Instagram, on other platform, and then reply the comments, messages, and emails that I receive. Very important that I've learned over these years, treating this as a business, not as just a fun thing, is that the building the community is what actually brings the business, so equal money. If you don't have that engaging community, you can have a viral video that would have 1 billion of views, but if you never respond to the comments or the likes, or you don't engage after that, it's basically you just wasted a huge opportunity. That's why I always believe you don't need 1 million followers. You can just need 20, but very good one that would actually support your business and would be loyal to you, to your brand, wherever you do, wherever you go.
Yeah, that's interesting. I had Seth Godin on the show a few months ago, the marketing guy, Seth Godin, and he said every business just needs 1,000 loyal fans. And I didn't question him on it, but I don't think he meant specifically 1,000, but just a handful, right? I think sometimes we feel as though we need, as a podcast, you need 10,000, 20,000, 30,000. Or as a content creator doing cooking shows, you need thousands, but you actually need a handful of really loyal ones who, are going to support you financially, but also are going to tell others about you and be those raving fans who spread the word.
Yeah. Correct. Absolutely. There's so much now on the internet.
That's right.
So much content.
Yeah. And that's a blockage in itself. I imagine there are people listening to us now, Ruby, and going, because my hope in chatting with you, others listening to this, is that someone will be sparked to do live streaming, either for their existing business or go and create a business out of live streaming. And I think one of the limiting beliefs is, but there's so much content out there. You've already said we both of us are competing against Netflix, against Stan.
Especially on cooking. Cooking, everyone shares recipes on cooking. Everyone. Right.
So the challenge is, it's a creative challenge. It's like, you'd be silly to say, I'm not going to do it because there's too many. It's just, you've got to find an angle that resonates with a small group of people that are going to love you. I've spoken about this on my show before. I'm interested in your answer. There's lots of marketing podcasts out there, as I've said many times before, and I think there are better marketing podcasts than this one out there. But for some reason, this is a highly awarded, highly listened to marketing podcast that rates really well, and I'm very proud of it. And I think it's because I found this intersection between educating people and having a bit of a laugh along the way, right? I'm not all about education, and I'm not all about laughing because I'm not that funny. What's your intersection? Because, again, there's lots of cooking shows. There's no shortage of people doing what you're doing. Why is Ruby Noosa having a modicum of success?
I believe is the engagement with my community. I talk to people and I respond to them. I engage them. I remember their stories. I try to remember some of the names, and I would engage with them. It's not just about cooking. I play a lot of fun around that, like you're doing on your podcast. So the fun theme is very important to me. I would never pretend or be in front of the camera to pretend to be a chef with my uniform on and say, this is how you cut onions. I in fact make fun of that. So,
is that the smoke alarm? What are you cooking? That breast has escaped from the.
I'm not cooking anything.
I love it. Guys, Ruby Noosa's smoke alarm has gone off. She's got the chair. I can't see her now. She's up on the. Have you fixed it?
It just turned off all of a sudden. I'm not sure what happened there. I'm going to call them. I'm going to just ruin my podcast.
Do you know who I am? I'm Ruby Noosa, and I don't expect my smoke alarms to. Oh, that's good. We like it. But that's a great thing about creating live content, isn't it? It's just you can have some fun with it.
I love it. One day I cooked and there was a small cockroaches running around next to my dishwasher, and I froze. I panicked because I hate cockroaches. And I tell my audience, guys, you gotta stop there because I have to get rid of this. I will cry in front of the camera. So I took my spray, and it was so hilarious. It was the best moment. It was a gold moment for everyone to watch.
No doubt. You got to go with those things. And again, limiting belief for people wanting or thinking about getting into content is they're waiting for everything to be perfect. They're waiting for a cockroach-free kitchen. You know, they're waiting for that pimple to disappear off their forehead. It's just like, guys, get on with it. It's not about you. It's about the listener and giving value and making their lives better. So I think that's a really good mindset to take. Ruby, you've had some big offers along the way. Can you share any of them? And you've knocked back all of them. What's your plan?
So, yes. Well, I was approached. Well, not big companies, like McDonald's or anything like that. But there were big apps that actually were willing to pay me a lot more for cooking content on the app. So the contract that I mostly got were from technology, so brands, so apps and software. And I do my research because I love business, and I want to believe that I want to kind of be smart and that. And when I found out that the business company has some sort of different type of beliefs that they don't combine with my beliefs, they don't match my beliefs, then I would just say no. I am a mother of 2 children, and internet lasts kind of forever. And I want to make sure that whatever I create as a content in my any type of social media platform, internet platform, will be always clean, good, and with a good moral behind. So there was this app that was very popular, was literally millionaire behind the apps in America. And the owners were connected with the Pornhub platform. And even though the app itself wasn't about sex or porn, there was going to be some sort of partnership with that towards the end. So I just say no, sorry, I don't want to be represented, or I don't want to even think that my brand will be connected with these kind of things, and so on. So there was a company that offered me a couple of vibrators to promote them, which I don't know how you would promote G-rated that.
Not exactly a straight line between cooking shows and adult toys, but hey, they clearly saw one.
Yeah, exactly. Apparently, because they look at the numbers, and unfortunately, social media it can be tricky in that way, because even for people that are wanting to engage with some social media influencers, you have to look what the influencer is all about. Just because it has 2 million views or followers doesn't mean that would represent your brand perfectly. So I don't wear glasses, so I would be the wrong person to promote Specsavers ad on social media. Simply because my followers knows that I wouldn't. Now, if Specsavers asked me to play a role in the advertisement, of course I would say yes. But that's an advertisement. It's an acting job. It's a different kind of thing. Got it. You know what I mean?
So, Ruby, where would you love to see the Ruby Noosa business, say, in a year's time? I always think 5 years is way too far out. Do you want to continue doing what you're doing? Is there a plan for, anything else? Or you just want to grow your audience on those 4 streaming apps?
So I see myself growing the audience, because that's my main goal, to grow. I don't have a 5 years plan, because social media changes literally every 3 months. That I can't do that. But I do see myself, and so the Ruby Noosa brand, to bring into another level. So I am in contact with another company, for example, that is a huge media company that we're currently on a contract. Starting a contract, so like another YouTube platform. Fantastic. That will explore, and I do see myself trying to grow my numbers. If you asked me 2 years ago, I would say I would love to have my cooking show on a national TV station, like on SBS television or anything like that. Now I see the numbers, and the more I see the numbers, I think I don't want to do it with TV. I want to be on on the internet. So it's just a bigger audience and more exposure. And eventually, I want to create a beautiful community that is more towards the positivity. That we have so much negativity on the internet. That's what my main goal, to leave some sort of legacy to my children, basically.
That's awesome. Well, listen, thank you for sharing your live streaming story, Ruby Noosa. It's absolutely fantastic. It's very much in its early days and very exciting times ahead for you. So to everyone listening, I hope you've been inspired to maybe go and try, live streaming in some form. As I said, whether it be a business unto itself or whether it be just a way of a new marketing channel for your business. Ruby, I wish you all the best. Go and get going on the next. What is the next class? I think you said a marinara type setup, wasn't it?
Yeah, we're going to do a seafood baking dish kind of thing. Yeah.
Bon appetit.
Grazie.
Well, there you go, team. Live streamer Ruby Salato, or Ruby Noosa as she prefers to be known. There's something to be said for having a marketing name. Past guest Chocolate Johnny had one. Ironically, he was another live streamer. Maybe it's a live streaming thing. Do you have one? Do you go by one name or like a special name? I'd love to know what it is and how you arrived at it. I just get called Timbo. Is that like being like Madonna or Lady Gaga? Probably not. I used to have a business called The Ideas Guy, which was like a marketing consulting business. I was always referred to as The Ideas Guy. It's quite a powerful marketing strategy. Anyway, I digress. Hey, if you'd like to watch Ruby in action, head over to HAPS. That's HAPPS.tv/@Ruby Noosa. But I'll also put a link in the show notes over at smallbusinessbigmarketing.com/557. Hey, coming up, we hear from a listener that thinks I talk too much. No. Be very interesting to hear what they have to say. But first, here's what grabbed my attention from that chat with Ruby Noosa. Attention grabber number 1. I was reminded by the power of live streaming. And whilst I get that it's not new and there are many, many doing it, I can't help but think there's a great opportunity for business owners just like you to use it as a way to engage and take your precious customers and prospects on a bit of a journey. Allow them to get to know you. That would be a very cool thing to do. Attention grabber number 2. I admire Ruby's confidence. To live stream like she does is a big effort in itself, but factor in things like coming out of a difficult marriage, no media training whatsoever. She's not technical by nature. She's happy to do a happy dance. That's cool. Then you start to see what a super job she's done so far. And I just think that whole confidence thing, that whole marketing mindset is so important. Get over yourself. Share that wonderful knowledge that you're standing on, that mountain of knowledge. And live streaming is a way to do that. And attention grabber number 3. I am in total admiration for the way Ruby manages the haters and the trolls she gets on her live streams, which is a sad and inevitable part of sticking your head up online. But again, marketing mindset team, don't let that stop you. It's not as big as you think it is, and the rewards are there if you do it and you're consistent with it. That's what grabbed my attention. Write down this number and call me and let me know what grabbed yours. +61 for those overseas, 480 015 150. Just like listener Kat did the other day.
Hey, Timbo. It's Kat from True Health Osteopathy calling. I basically just wanted a way to send you a message about your most recent episode. I am a diehard fan. I do love a lot of your podcasts. But the most recent one from Loon, the F1 aerodynamics croissant maker. Anyways, my point that I wanted to make to you was, out of all the podcasts that I've listened to, I think this is the only one I've really noticed that you've talked over the guest a fair bit. I actually found it really slightly upsetting, especially when she was talking about some more personal conversations in terms of about her anorexia, and even when she was just trying to explain a few things to you, I think you were trying to help her kind of find her words, but it actually felt very much like you were talking over her, not letting her explain herself. Yeah, and I just thought, you think you're on the whole pretty good at not doing that, but I think that's something that maybe if you listen back to that episode, you'll notice you actually did a fair bit of, and you didn't really let her continue to find her own words. So just a small critique. I love your podcast. You've done a heap for me already in my small business, but that's all. I hope you're having a good day, Timbo. Bye.
Well, thank you, Kat. I'll keep this response very brief. I appreciate constructive criticism, so good on you for, calling the Small Business Big Marketing Hotline and giving me a serve. I know that I talk too much sometimes. I know that I talk over people sometimes. I do try to limit it. I'm very conscious of it. I'm so conscious of it that I got Australia's leading stand-up comedian, Richard Stubbs. I love comedians because they're funny and they're very good at conciseness, at economy of words. I got him to come into the studio and critique my interview style. And you can listen to it. It's episode 392, or I will put a link to it over at smallbusinessbigmarketing.com/557. And you can have a listen to what he had to say. But Kat, thank you. Everyone else, give the Small Business Big Marketing Hotline a buzz. Next episode, you and I catch up with the founder of Luxury Escapes, which is a brand I have admired from a distance for quite some time. Very, very excited to bring that chat to you. If you haven't already, grab a copy of my book, The Boomerang Effect, over at smallbusinessbigmarketing.com. That website is going through a serious rehash. Is that the right word? It's going to look amazing. And I will be sharing that process with you in future months, along with the guy who's helped me design it. Hey, I'd love to hear what marketing's working for you, so do call the hotline on 0480 015 150. If you love the Small Business Big Marketing podcast, you'll find 556 more episodes on your favourite podcast app. And guess what? This podcast was presented by me, Timbo Reid. The music bed written, sung and produced by the muso to the stars, Lockie Dolly, and elegantly pulled together by my new producer, Romy Sher. Hey, Romy, welcome. It's great having you on board. And a big thank you to Dave Zlowinski for all the great work he's done on the show over the past few months. Until next time, thanks for tuning in. May your marketing be the absolute best marketing. Bye for now.